Well, welcome back. We are talking tonight with Sasha Latypova from Team Enigma, who is, in my estimation, an expert on these DoD contracts, revealing the fact that pharmaceutical industry pretty much is really our government in disguise. But anyway, Sasha, welcome back to the show.
Hi.
When we took the quick break, we were talking. Well, I wanted to ask you, knowing that they're practicing these false flag, these runs of hey, monkeypox over here, 6 cases over there. Do you think that they will actually try to implement relatively soon, within the next year or so, something like that? I mean, in general, another lockdown? When people are angry about that, the mask thing and the lockdown, what do you think?
Oh, yes, absolutely. There's a plan, a very clear plan. I suggest people go to James Roguski's Substack. He's covering it very, very well. It's all the information and actions that you can take. But the WHO, so what people don't realize, they say, well, we defeated the lockdowns. I didn't wear a mask. I didn't follow the rules. I'm great,
Right.
defeated it all. Well, you defeated it, and good for you. Everybody should do that. You should practice disobedience. But this time it was easy because they were recommendations only. So WHO issued recommendations, our CDC issued recommendations, and now they're claiming, oh, we didn't insist on anything. It was just the overzealous school boards that mask your children. Now, the next round, which is they're implementing within months, even though they said it's going to be 2024, but they want to sneak it under everyone's radar screen. They want to solidify it and make it legally binding. And Biden administration is eager to sign up for this. They want to make it legally binding, not just recommendations, but whenever WHO announces global pandemic, which they can announce based on anything they dream up, they can say in the jungle of New Guinea there is a new virus and it affects monkeys, and therefore all of the United States need to go into lockdown.
Oh my God.
Okay. So that's how that's written. It's absolutely insane. It's insane, and it's written by psychopaths. But our administration, Biden administration, is very eager to sign up to those rules. So next time around, it's going to be legally binding and much harder to fight. So we need to be proactive.
How are they going to enforce it? Do you anticipate? I mean, it could be, civil war in some places, some pockets of the United States, and maybe the world. I don't know, but it's not going to go down as easily as the first time. So they probably know
I
that. Yeah. What do
I
you think?
sure I sure hope so, but I don't want any violence. And so that's why we need to be proactive in speaking up and educating our legislators at all levels. It's important at all levels. They have power to interfere on something like this in the
Yeah.
state, local. You write to your congresspeople. But again, I suggest go to James Roguski's Substack. He has a lot of good ideas, actions, and you can participate. That's one thing. So next time around, they're planning a much more brutal execution of this.
Because they know it's going to be a fight.
Yes, they know
People
it's
live in
going to be.
fight. Can we move now to? I want to talk about these contracts. You were one of the first people, again, last year and earlier, to talk about these Pfizer contracts. Very few people know them as well as you do. You've been tracking them. The contracts. I'd like to know what Pfizer has. The contracts Pfizer has with the United States would be with Pfizer and the DoD, which is now appears to be one entity in some
Mhm.
ways, but also the contracts with other countries. Remember, we talked last year about, hey, in these Pfizer contracts, it's coming out that there are stipulations that if a country doesn't take a certain amount of the shots, buy it and store it and whatever, that they then have to turn over their military bases. And I was asking you, well, Sasha, why would a pharmaceutical company want to own military bases from a bunch of countries all over the world? You kind of have some updated, perspective on that. Let's get into those contracts and what that really means.
Mhm. Yes, exactly. So another great resource is my collaborator Catherine Watts. She's amazing, and she just published, I think, earlier today or yesterday on this issue. So what happens is when people say Pfizer, they think they think private pharmaceutical company. There's a private pharmaceutical company operating as private pharmaceutical company, and then right now in these contracts for COVID countermeasures, they are actually operating as a government entity. The government kind of captured them,
Yes.
as they did with other companies that I mentioned, for these COVID countermeasures. And so they're essentially a private business fused with the government, having government sovereign protection for their actions, as long as they follow the orders from the government. So that strange thing when we read in these contracts, foreign contracts, saying that, well, if you're saying to the foreign sovereign government that has national independence and national legislation and all that, so ridiculousness of a private US manufacturer going to a foreign sovereign government and telling them that you will buy this, you cannot test it, you cannot ask questions, you will pay regardless whether we deliver or not. You will, if your citizens are injured and sue you and win, then you pay, and if you can't pay, you give us your military assets. So people were like, how insane is that? And why would Pfizer want military assets? Well, that's why, because it's not Pfizer as a private pharmaceutical company. It's Pfizer as part of the U.S. government, and U.S. government wants those bases.
Boom. That's the answer. That makes everything make sense now, right?
Yes, it does make sense why they wrote it that way, and why they felt that they had enough enforcement power to force some countries in the world to suspend their national legislation, because it also says that you cannot change your laws in a country to alter the liability issues in regard to this contract. So they're telling, so again, supposedly private pharmaceutical company goes and dictates to all of these countries in the world that they cannot practice their own legislative power. That's
Sasha,
not Pfizer, that's U.S. government.
Yes, something just kind of crossed my mind. Everybody's afraid of, the new world order, like it's going to come as some outside entity and take over the United States. It's happening within the United States. From what you just explained, right? Am I piecing it together that if the DOD now is the monster with these other cabalists and everything, that if they're capturing the world, not for the United States, because that won't exist as we know it as American citizens, but to be the new world order kind of comes out of us, of our what used to be or what will used to be. That thought just hit me. What do you think about that?
Well, yes. So they've captured, as you know, and again, the cabal. If you watch their presentations, and I think there's actually a great compilation of clips where all these U.S. presidents and high-ranking officials, including Obama, Nancy Pelosi, even like earlier than that, much earlier than that, Bush Senior, they're all on record saying New World Order, New World Order, New World Order. We need New World Order, and it's like forever this compilation of clips, because that's their plan. They were captured a long time ago to institute this. And when people say, well, why would our military shoot at us? And I'm saying, well, don't. First of all,
they're not our military anymore.
They're not our military. They the regular service members, they don't know any better. But I also want them to be educated on this. You've been captured to execute this plan, and it has nothing to do with the interest of regular American people like us. It has to do with the interest of central bankers somewhere in Europe or wherever they are.
Wow, this is so much bigger. I think this is a major revelation that the New World Order, like an infection, will come out of the US while everyone's looking around out to the world for this big bad wolf to come and swallow us. It's brilliant when you think about it. Just destroy from within, right?
Destroy from within, because they knew they cannot capture us from without. America is too big, too powerful, we're all armed. They can't possibly invade us. We're our own continent.
You have to take it from within.
You have to take it from within, yes.
And you've kind of discovered that, you and Catherine, with these, by common sense interpretation of these contracts and how they have been laid out with not just our DOD, but around the world. I mean, I'm a little stunned, which is why I'm fumbling for words. I mean, This is really huge. I mean, how is there more you want to say about that? Because I want to talk about what we can do about if that's
Mhm.
true.
Mhm.
If the killer is in the house, right? What do we do about it? Uh,
Well, yeah, just one thing before we go there, I just
yeah.
want to make sure that people understand also within these contracts, and we're going back to the US now. uh, the Pfizer DoD contracts, the way they're written, first of all, they utilize the framework that DoD uses for purchasing weapons, and they're a high user of this particular framework. It's called Other Transaction Authority. Well, 11 government agencies use it. DoD is particular high user of this framework, and it's completely inappropriate for pharmaceuticals. So they use it to buy weapons. This framework allows them to order undisclosed products from otherwise regulated industries,
Oh my
bypassing
God.
regulations. And also they bypass all regulations. They can suspend regulations, and they can keep a lot of things secret, including from other branches of the government. And so they all of these contracts are OTA, all of them. And also, while there's a lot of language in these contracts seemingly saying that, oh, Pfizer has to comply with GMP and do clinical trials and get approvals from the FDA, those are just words. When you get to and they're just words for distraction, they have no enforcement power. When you get to the scope of the contract, scope has explicit clause saying that the preclinical, clinical trials, and good manufacturing practice compliance are out of scope of the product of the contract, and the government explicitly is not paying for it.
Wow.
The government is not ordering it, and there's no meaningful way to enforce those things other than it just says someday Pfizer will do it.
Wow. 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 I mean, I think we kind of just put some pieces together. Have you ever thought of it this way, that the New World Order would actually come out of us? I mean, it will stun the American people, and it will stun the world, because everybody's thinking maybe Davos or China or Russia, or the BS in the Ukraine. They're using that as a planning
Mhm.
ground, right? It's almost.
Yeah, I didn't realize about this New World Order thing until I started looking into this, and so I just recently arrived at this realization, which is extremely devastating if you think about it. How you start looking at these video clips and how long this has been planned, and you just shocked to the core. I didn't know about this. I know there are people who have been aware of it, and I wasn't. I was just oblivious, just like everybody else, working hard and raising my family.
Yeah,
uh,
yeah.
but this is what it is. They did infiltrate the United States. They did infiltrate all these other countries. It's very obvious. You just need to look at their recordings. They're all over the internet and YouTube, and they're proud of it.
Wow, no wonder they're so emboldened. I want to come back to this issue, because it is the issue, really. But before I do, I don't want to shortchange the discussion on the work that you and Catherine are doing, on the revelation of these contracts. Like, some of them were redacted
Mhm.
grossly. We had MEP Christian Terhez and Christine Anderson, heroes of mine in a lot of ways, that brought forward, and his presentation, where he holds up something that's almost 100% redacted. But I'm also curious about what you may have heard or know from your intelligence around maybe the contract with Israel. Like, they were so compliant, right? They got an exclusive with Pfizer, which is really the U.S. government. Now I'm putting pieces together. But
Mhm.
why don't is that why Israel should be like, their population should be dying off really visibly, like, to the outside world, but we don't get to see any numbers. What's going on there? What do you think about the contract with Israel?
Yeah, so there are two contracts with Israel. One is the one that the government claims they lost, which is the purchasing contract.
Oh
And
wow, yeah,
I
okay.
assure you, there is no such thing as a lost contract, because you could request a copy from Pfizer, you could request a copy from your law firm or Pfizer's law firm, and a few other places. So this contract is not lost, but they're claiming it's lost. Now we know it exists because I also have in my position, and I think it's been released by FOIA, a contract Israel made with Pfizer a little bit later that
Mm.
gave them access to the entire country's health records. And because Israel for years has been paraded as, oh, they're so efficient. Well, the country is not very large as far as population. And
Say
they have,
again. I'm sorry. Say again. The country is what?
is not very large as far as population.
Correct. Correct.
Population is fairly small, right? And so they have implemented a long time ago the complete electronic health records for every citizen, and they have centralized healthcare. And so that makes them, this perfect data set that then Benjamin Netanyahu was on record, bragging that, we've established this data sharing agreement and with Pfizer, and yeah, this contract exists for data sharing. So that contract refers to the purchasing contract. So Pfizer and U.S. government by extension gets access to Israel health records, and they can sort of practice and see what kind of effects they get from these shots. But we also know that, and we know that there was a lot of adverse events in Israel as well. I don't have it like off the top of my head, but I've seen a number of reports that there were severe adverse events. They were suppressed. They were the companies that wanted to analyze them didn't get access to the data, got their projects defunded. So we do know that there is adverse event rate. I don't know how it compares to us or to the world. We know there's a lot of variability between different countries, different states, different locations within the state. So,
the data collection is probably very inconsistent, right? At the very least.
Yeah.
Across countries.
But that's how they just traded their entire population's health records for this.
Wow. It's just stunning to me. When we talked about the kinds of things that they could get away with, I mean, these are crimes. These are hundreds and thousands of crimes, but they think they've covered their tracks on it. For example, when you talked about in the contracts, they gave themselves like off the hook from good manufacturing processes, right? We're like, well, how could they do that? We don't even know what's in it. Like you made a really important statement recently. I can't remember if it was a Substack or if it was a statement, but it had to do with the fact that there are many different things, and I've been saying this based on what your work taught me, but there are many different things on any given day in these shots. But what you added to the sentence was under the same label, unheard of.
Yeah.
Because they gave themselves the leeway. Talk about that a little bit.
Right. So as we've mentioned before, the good manufacturing practice is out of scope of these products. All the government ordered was demonstrations, and that's actually in scope is the large scale manufacturing demonstration. Demonstration is fake by definition, and GMP is excluded from scope. So what happens is these products are produced to non-GMP, and that's the first thing I've discovered with the variability of batches. So they're not good manufacturing practice compliant. If you don't have good manufacturing practice compliance, you cannot assure what is in this shot. You can't, if you order a countermeasure, how are you proving it's the countermeasure that you ordered? Well, that's why they ordered demonstration, right? So they knew.
They knew what they were going to do. Yeah.
And so so absolutely anything can be there. It's produced. It's completely again. So how people say, well, how are they getting away with it where all the employees on the manufacturing floor don't know? I've interviewed some of the insiders from the manufacturing for some of these companies.
Yeah.
And I can assure you they have no idea what they're doing because it's so compartmentalized. They have a piece. So in a lot of cases for Pfizer, for example, drug substance gets made in Rentschler in Germany or Kursk, Belgium. Then it gets shipped in biobags to Andover or Chesterfield or Kalamazoo. And those people mix it without knowing what's in that biobag. They mix it and they make the finished product. And then they ship it to another place, or either they fill finish in their own facility, or they ship it to Kansas to fill finish, or some other supplier. And the same thing goes for all of them. And there are literally hundreds of suppliers all over the world, and there's this like cross shipping, and and no traceability, and the entire supply chain is owned by DoD, so they can insert anytime whatever they want. So as you are aware of that Coast Guard case in Alaska, that's exactly
Yes,
what they.
very much aware. In fact, I was called by one of the military members that discovered it early on. This was back last fall, but go ahead.
Yeah, so that's exactly what they did. The DoD tried to pass a few, batches or trays of this product, which is EUA, as a commodity to overcome the service members' resistance based on the fact that this is EUA and cannot be mandated. So they pretended, oh, we have the real deal. But the real deal came from unlicensed plant, not licensed to do GMP. So it couldn't be commodity. So they just literally mislabeled them and tried to pass them. So I assure you, they do it all the time. And also, CDC put those FW series. I think it's like 5 batches that the FW. So one of them was in Alaska. They put them on their list as if released in the United States. But I have shipments information for Pfizer for entire United States down to the zip codes, and no commodity products have been shipped.
Wow.
So those batches, those FW batches that CDC claims they released, they don't appear in the shipments, and they don't appear in VAERS.
Oh my gosh! Well, that's incredible evidence. We're gonna wrap up the show right now, Sasha, and so we're gonna temporarily say goodbye to you. But for those of you who want to hear a little bit more about the government's role, how our government is not only gone, but has become all of this, I'm going to invite you to check out After Talk on my Rumble, which is rumble.com/Dr. Jane Ruby. And we'll talk to Sasha a little bit longer over there at After Talk. But if you're leaving us now, I want to thank Sasha for being with us tonight on the Dr. Jane Ruby Show. Sasha, it's always an honor and a pleasure to have you. I learn exponentially more every time you're on the show. And so for people to find you, it's on Substack. It's Due Diligence and Art, because you are an artist, a real artist. And your show or your podcast, is it? Can you refresh our memory and where we can find you there?
Yeah, but it's just I post video presentations on Team Enigma on BitChute.
Awesome. Yeah. Thank you, Sasha. And thank you for being here today. That's it for this edition of the Dr. Jane Ruby Show, but just a few more parting words and some new information in the next segment. Don't go away. Well, who doesn't want to breathe better and protect the air that your babies and children take in? Who doesn't want to protect the entire family from chemtrails, shedding symptoms, and allergy problems? Well, take a look at the Triad air filtration products. They have something for everyone. There's a home unit that covers up to 3,000 square feet. The Go that sits in the cup in your car. Don't forget the Mini. This is one of my personal favorites for your single room, a dorm room, hotel room, or any individual room like those that massage therapists use for their clients. There's no cord to worry about. You just plug it in and it takes care of the room for about 200 to 250 square feet. With electrostatic filtration, these air purifiers cover every corner of your home and your life. The advanced photocatalytic oxidation and the pulse ionization collect all the harmful matters in your environment and provide you with pure air. You'll never need to change a filter. So no expensive cycle of buying filters over and over again, because the needlepoint ionization technology of these air purifiers means the air is cleared electrically by charging the molecules in your home. And the large home unit is energy efficient, which means it uses very little electricity and won't blow up your monthly energy bill. And don't forget the personal Triad Air Shield. This gives you a 4-foot perimeter around you. You can wear it on a lanyard, on your shirt, on your belt, your purse, backpack. It's always there to protect you. Go to filtersuck.com. That's filters with an S, suck.com. And don't forget to use the promo code RUBY for 10% off your entire order and free shipping. Well, the show is brought to you by Danette May and Mindful Health, LLC, featuring Danette May's top superfood product from her Earth Echo food line, Cocoa Bliss. Nothing feels better than being able to enjoy rich, smooth, creamy chocolate and knowing you're doing something good for your body. They start with 100% organic cocoa beans that are naturally kissed by the sun, maintaining its miraculous health benefits. Then they blend it with turmeric, MCT oil, coconut, Himalayan sea salt, cinnamon, and black pepper for the perfect blend to make you feel the best you have ever felt. Fall in love with a truly decadent, healthy, guilt-free chocolate, removing your cravings, facilitating weight loss, boosting your energy, and reducing inflammation with one simple drink. It's friendly to paleo, gluten-free, keto, vegan, and vegetarian diets. They're offering up to 15% off when you use the promo code RUBY. Go to earthechofoods.com and use the discount code RUBY for your 15% off.